What's going on, everybody? Alex Brooks here. Last month, I released a video on an application I developed and deployed on AWS that resizes the resolution of video files. And for the past few weeks, I've been redesigning the UI and updating the GitHub repository. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to clone the repo and deploy the project yourself in under 10 minutes. Let's get started. All right, so let's get started on the project. So the very first thing that I want to kind of cover is the GitHub repository. So I created the README file, so it's a very concise step-by-step instruction. So all you have to do is go in here and copy and paste the commands into your terminal window. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and copy and paste all of these commands in the terminal window because it's going to take some time, but if you did this, you should be able to deploy the application within 10 minutes. But I created a script that basically does all of these commands for us. But what I would recommend if you are new to AWS and you're deploying this application yourself, kind of really read into all of these commands, maybe throw these commands into ChatGPT if you don't really understand what is actually happening. That way you're just not like copy and pasting and deploying this project and really not getting any value. But I tried to make this as clear and concise for you as possible. So basically you just copy and paste these commands and then you have a fresh application. But what we'll do here is go over to AWS, and just to show you that I'm running a completely fresh deployment, let's just check a few things. So CloudFront, we're going to use CloudFront as our distribution so we can host the UI. And you'll notice I have one here. That's the old one. We'll just go ahead and delete this distribution so it's not active. So you can see I don't have any distribution specifically for this application. We'll go into Origin Access. We have one right here. We can delete that as well. We'll make sure that that's gone. Lambda, we're going to use a Lambda function, so it's serverless. We don't have any Lambda functions there. And the IAM role will be created as well. I'm not going to go into the IAM for you. And then the API gateway, we're going to use an API gateway as well to call the endpoint of the function. And we don't have that here either. So we are starting completely fresh here. So I just want to make sure that you're tracking what we're doing. And what I want you guys to do is basically go into the GitHub repo. I'll leave the link in the description. And we're going to go ahead and open up a terminal window. Now, in your terminal window, you're going to copy and paste all of these commands, and then it's going to deploy the application for you. But what I want to show you is a script that I created, which is pretty cool, that will deploy this project in less than 5 minutes, actually, which is super awesome. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you that I have the script here, and we're going to run the script and let this thing just deploy our application for us. So you can see that it's starting to run. So in this whole process, what it's doing is it's basically doing exactly what the README file is saying to do, right? It's cloning the repo, it's drilling down into the repo, it's creating these AWS buckets, it's creating the Lambda function, it's creating the IAM roles, then it's going to go in and create the API gateway. So you can see it's just kind of working through this process. Now, the longest part of the process is the deployment of the CloudFront distribution. So as we get closer to that step, you'll notice that it takes a few minutes to actually deploy. That's the longest thing. So I will pause the video here and I'll come right back with you once this process is done. And you can see the application will actually run a test on the API gateway just to make sure that it's been deployed. So once that's finished, I will check back in with you and then we'll make sure that our application has been deployed. Okay, so just after a few moments here, we can see that the API endpoint has been successfully tested. And once the job has completely finished, we have some important information like the domain that we can navigate over to and make sure that the application is deployed properly. So let's open up a new private window and paste the domain and then press enter. And there you go, there's your application. Let's just make sure that it runs properly first before we kind of celebrate. So we'll choose a video here, a little disclaimer. Open that up and let's just say 500 by 500 because that's an easy way to tell whether it's working or not. Upload and resize. And so what it's doing right now is just running the MediaConvert job. Once it's done, it will send it to the output S3 bucket and then automatically start a download. And there you go. So it does look like it's working because the video originally was like 1920 by 1080. And so now you can see that the video is a square box at 500 by 500. So let's go over to AWS and look and see what has been deployed. So remember that we deleted that CloudFront distribution. We see that the distribution has been created here. We also have the origin access has been created here. Let's go over to our Lambda function. The Lambda function has been created and the code has been deployed for us as well. The API gateway is attached. We also have some environment variables that were set here. And if we go over to the API gateway, we can see that that gateway has been deployed successfully with the appropriate endpoints, as well as the IAM roles, the input and the output bucket, and the UI S3 bucket. And that's it. Now you have your own serverless application running on AWS. And so I challenge you now to not just copy and paste my commands in the repo, but actually learn each command and what it does. That way you can tailor your own application with your own flair and style. And if you develop an application similar to this one, I would love to see it. You can message me directly or leave a comment in the comment section below. And if you found any value out of this video, please comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.